education doesn't end. Education starts from your kindergarten, early learning, goes into primary years, into secondary years, into post-secondary years. How do you get into the post-secondary years? What do you do after high school? And that's why our next guest is coming here to talk to us about it. Anne Wanjiku Munene is the director of the St. Elizabeth Academy in Karen. Good morning, Anne.
Good morning to you, sir.
How are you?
Very well, thank you.
Welcome to Kenya's biggest conversation.
Thank you. I feel very welcome.
We call that the hot seat of the situation room.
Yeah, it is hot.
Not so much. Make yourself comfortable. Enjoy yourself. We were asking ourselves earlier, and City is very good with direction. Let's see whether you will give the same direction that City had given us. Where is St. Elizabeth, Karen?
St. Elizabeth Karen is actually within the vicinity of Karen Shopping Center.
Mm-hmm.
This is a school that was built or has been in existence for the last 27 years. And by the time I went there to do the buildings, that land, you remember, it used to be owned by the Queen. So
Which Queen?
Queen Elizabeth.
Allah?
Yes, the Queen of England.
Mm-hmm.
And that in those days, when I looked for it, that was in 1992. It was just a forest. Today we have quite a number of people that are living there, and they need also they need quality education.
That's true.
And this is why St. Elizabeth was established exactly 27 years ago.
And you bought the land from the Queen?
The Queen had given that land to the generals of the Second World War. You can imagine that we inherited that long. And we bought it from one of the colonels.
Okay.
Yes.
Karibu sana.
Thank
City, please welcome Anne with the day's proverb. Every week, Anne, City goes to an African country. He researches programs from the proverbs from that country, and then he comes with 5 of them, one a day, Monday to Friday.
Wow.
In the last 4 weeks, he has been in?
We have been in the Maghreb region of Africa.
Yes.
That is Northern Africa. Yes. And this week we are in the final country that we're going to mine proverbs from, and we are in the state of Libya. Yes.
Numbia.
Libya.
Yes.
Kwa Gaddafi.
Yeah.
Kabisa.
Gas.
Kabisa. He who has luck will have the wind blow him his firewood.
He who has luck will have the wind blow him his firewood. And what do you think the Libyans are saying with this proverb?
I'm an economist and an educator.
Bas.
It is very rare that plate poems.
Okay. You are an educationist. Okay?
Yes.
One of the things that you will find in school is teaching using sayings and proverbs and so my friend, this one you're not running away from. How do you interpret this proverb?
What do you think the Libyans were trying to say?
When you hear that, repeat the proverb, City.
He who has luck will have the wind blow him his firewood.
That means the wind, if you are lucky, will light up the fire. I'm imagining you don't need to keep looking for newspaper old ones to light up the fire.
Blowing and blowing with a pipe.
Yeah.
See, an economist can interpret poetry.
It's possible.
Yeah, of course, it's doable.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
So apart from the economic sense of looking at a growing neighborhood, and that neighborhood will have a need for quality education, what inspired you to get into education?
I'll give you a small, just within 1 minute. My grandfather used to be a teacher. My mother was a teacher. I decided I needed a different line of thought, and I became an economist. But my father kept on insisting a good wife is only a teacher. A teacher. Because you teach and deliver kids and feed them, and the population will grow. So as I was now entering into my 30th year, my father kept on insisting, and I had to make sure that I listened to him. And that is how now I entered into the teaching profession. Instead of being in the money market as an economist, he told me the best woman on earth is a teacher. And he kept on insisting. And I think because my mother was very good, he wanted me to be just like how she was.
Okay. So you decided to found a school.
And that I did. In 1977, I tried. That is when I first taught, and I was employed by the late Bishop Cesar Gatimu to open up St. Bakita Girls, which is in Nyeri. And I went back to teaching, and I decided, other than being a risk analyst, I should go back and teach and set up a school. And there was great need because in Karen, those days, we only used to have one public school. And children would be studying outside the classroom and in their, hundreds. And I decided, let me come up with an institution of learning that will take care of the children from this area. Majority of the children used to be taken 5 kilometers away every morning by their parents. Like from Karen all the way to Strathmore to Consolata, it was very far. And this is why St. Elizabeth was established, is to give good education environment, have learning going on and well, and at the same time, not running away from our Christian faith. So St. Elizabeth was established in 1999. January 1999 is when we took the first class. And from then on, we have now been able to establish St. Elizabeth in Nairobi. We have 2 schools, and St. Elizabeth in Mombasa, in Miritini. And we are still working on, because we have the 4th school that is coming up in Kinangop in January 20.
Next year?
25, yes.
Okay.
And the beauty about us is that we've been able to come up with programs that are assisting the children. And these programs are assisting, take for example, children who are not able to cope with the theories in class. Some are not able to even deal with mathematics by way of the conditions of their birth. And these children have been given opportunity because we introduced, even before the CBC came, we introduced the teaching of home science, the teaching, the cooking, and the growing of plants, various types of plants. So children, and keeping chicken, and collecting eggs, and showing them how do you rear a chick to where it now starts giving you eggs, and how do you market the eggs to have money in your pocket. So all those things we introduced them early on. And we are very happy that the Kenya government now came up with a program of the CBC, because that is what was missing. As we grew up, I remember it was some years ago, in 1966. I don't know where you are. That year.
I don't know.
That
I don't know either.
That year is a year that we were taught in my class by teacher Christine Kavaita how to cook ugali. I know majority of the current
What
Kenyans.
class was that?
That was, I was in grade 4. We can say standard 4 that time. And we were taught how to make ugali. Yes. We were taught how to make ugali. And in central Kenya those days, there never used to be ugali, only mokimo. And so we were given notice by the teacher who was to bring firewood, who was to bring water, and we made the fire very early, waiting for Teacher Christine to come now. We didn't know the unga. In those days, there never used to be unga. And Teacher Christine came and made this special ugali. I will never forget. She put the water on the fire and added some salt in it. And then continued to make the ugali. Can you imagine the class? We could not even wait. And because I used to be among the top girls in the class those days, she gave me the piece of ugali and told me to confirm whether this ugali was good. And let me tell you something, even before I tasted, I'd already given an answer. It was the best ugali I ever ate in my life. The only most unfortunate bit is that she didn't teach us that ugali you eat with some vegetable or some stew.
All right.
This is why she had put salt in it, so that we eat like this. And so even when I grew up, my first ugali I served people with
Salt.
with salt. And I will tell you, I had to tell everyone, you to explain to me what next. And this is how now I got to know you eat ugali with some stew. You don't just
You
eat
served
ugali.
ugali in one serving, like an
Yes.
itaha of mukimo, you know? Just
Yes, but with some vegetables. But that notwithstanding, I have been enjoying my career. I'm happy, and I can't choose any other, not even working in World Bank. I would prefer to continue working as a teacher.
Right.
And so St. Elizabeth, we guess we are the only institution of learning also that has established a good studying in terms of developing young men and women. And we launched, at the celebration of the 27th year, we launched a new way of looking at our candidates, the Form 4 candidates. Once your daughter finishes Form 4, or your son, and they come home with a C, probably, like a majority of some of the kids, they are not doing well in Kiswahili. And so that drops them down. And they only think about now moving to go and study some diploma or some certificate so that they can bridge. But it is only St. Elizabeth that has been appointed from UK to start enrolling and training for 1 year all those children with C grades. And we are happy that we've been able to establish the International Foundation Program for the university entrance in very, very many countries in the world.
So the International Foundation Program is basically
Yes.
looking at those who have scored below a certain mark.
Yes, they
Right.
are C and above.
Okay.
You know, the universities in Kenya with C, you have to go and start a diploma. Then from there, go to a degree. But we are saying these kids may have just missed 1 point or 2 in some subject that is not going to become relevant in their future career. Why can't we give them opportunity? Instead of them repeating class and all that, we came up with the International University Foundation Program. And this program is recognized in the UK. All those who want to go and study in UK, to go to Canada, to go to US, to go to Australia, to go to Turkey, and UAE, they can move immediately. They finish our program, which takes 3 terms. The first 2 terms is intensive learning on the career path. Take, for example, you want to become a lawyer. You have to pass certain subjects. And those are the ones we concentrate on and prepare you now to go and study in the country of your choice. And we are the people that are setting up that and giving you the admissions. Your work is just to get your ticket and your school fees paid by your parent. Yeah.
So this is after you finish high school. So in this case, Form 4.
Yes.
So after you finish Form 4, then you can now come and enroll. So are you looking into particular subjects? Or are you looking? Is it broad? What exactly are you preparing students for before they take a university year?
We are preparing them to enter to study the degree of their choice. Take, for example, someone wants to go and take medicine. And for example, the English that they had done previously is where they dropped in their grades. And this is why they're done well in chemistry, they're done well in biology, but they failed or they got low mark in their English, for example, in their composition, which rolled them down. So we are preparing them now for that particular line of thought, where they want to become doctors. We prepare them, they study biology, they study chemistry, they also study English again, the English and its application.
Okay.
And then from there, we get them enrolled in the university of their choice.
So let me see if I get this right.
Yes.
So this is a student who'd like to go and study medicine.
Yes.
Right? There's a certain entry grade for medicine in these universities.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you have to pass certain subjects. You must pass in biology. You've got to pass if you're studying
It's biology and chemistry for
right?
medicine, yes.
And then you have these other subjects that you had to do. You had to take math.
Yes.
You had to take the compulsory subjects in Kenya.
Yeah.
You had to take math. You had to take English. You had to take Swahili. So if it was the Swahili that had given you a lower mark, but you still got above C, right?
Yes.
Let's say you even had a B plus, but everything else was strong. But what affected you was the languages.
Yes.
So you now come in and focus on the languages. Is this student going to sit the entire gamut of exams again? Are they going to recite chemistry and biology plus now the English and Swahili and maybe the math?
Actually, when someone has scored grades that are above the lower limit of the university where they want to go to attend, that is when you come on board to teach them the same subjects. Where, for example, I've given Kiswahili as an example because majority of the children that are studying in our institution, for example, and many of these private schools, they don't do very well in Kiswahili.
Yep.
And Kiswahili being a compulsory subject, it knocks down their marks at the end of KCSE. And we are saying Kiswahili is not the end of the road. Let us train these young men and young women in the career path subjects out of what they did in Form 4.
Okay.
We know that Kiswahili they failed.
Okay.
And we sharpen them on the study skills, for example. We sharpen them on the IT. And we sharpen them on the course subjects that they are supposed to do for the particular course they want to take. We ignore these others where they are weak. Like you're weak in Kiswahili, you can't go on in Kenya in the university because you failed a course subject, which they feel you must have passed.
Yeah.
But we are saying the other universities out there, they are not looking at your marks that way. They are looking at what you want to achieve, a set medicine you want. If you want to become an economist, did you pass your business paper? Did you pass your mathematics? Then we introduce the IT and we introduce the study skills so that you are taught how do you study when you go there, out there. Do you skip lessons and still get your marks?
So what I'm not getting is, let's go with the economist.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So you need to have passed in mathematics.
Yes.
You need to have passed in your business studies.
Yes.
And then let's say, because of Kiswahili, you then did not get the
qualify here in Kenya.
You didn't qualify here.
Yes.
Right? But you qualify for that university in the UK.
Yes.
So why do I need to bridge if I already qualify for the university in the UK?
You qualify, but for the universities in UK and any other place, you have to have orientation. You have to be taught how do you get here, how do you study here, what are the core subjects per career path. And those are the things that we are teaching them. And I gave an example. Mm-hmm. In Kenya, if you get a D, you know D? Mm. If you get a D, let's say in Kiswahili, and you even get a C+ in business, and others you get C+, C stand, you will still get a mini grade of a C. Because you failed the key subjects, that is Kiswahili. You know, you must pass in Kiswahili, you must pass in maths, and you must pass English and English.
Yes.
Therefore, if you fail one of them for some reason, it affects everything else because it cannot be ignored when the grading is being given.
Okay.
And we are saying those children with the C, they are not failures. Once they are given opportunity to study only the subjects that affect their career, what they want to be, they will make it. And this is where we come on board.
Okay.
Where we want them to come and study the core subjects. And the core subject, they are going to do English, that is academic English. They are going to do IT applications, and they are going to do study skills. Those are 3 which are compulsory. And then from there, they take 2 subjects out of another 8, which are going to give them the career of, of their life, of their choice. Yes. And this is where I gave an example. If one wants to take, even become a pharmacist, for example, you have to take the 3 and then take your chemistry and take your biology. And that's all. You don't need to take geography. You don't need to take Kiswahili to pass to go to university.
Okay.
Only that.
I get it. It's about the IUFP program. It's the International University Foundation program, a 1-year university pathway course designed for students whose main goal is to further their university education abroad, and more so in countries like the United Kingdom, the USA, Australia, the UAE, Germany, Netherlands, Canada, Malta, and Turkey. Normally, students are enlisted in the course after their final exam in KCSE or IGCSE, and they are scheduled to attend Form 5 and 6. This is a pathway for them because they will be exempted from taking the 2 years in high school, and as such, they'll only require 1 year of studying and passing the IUFP before proceeding abroad for their degree studies. Okay? So first you have to sit this exam, and then now you come for this pathway. And for those that to qualify for this, you must be 844 or secondary with C and above, higher. British curriculum, year 11 to qualify for it. And then when you come for this 1 year, then you're doing this core subject, which you said is academic English, IT, and study skills. And then you have some elective subjects based on now the pathway that you want to take. So who guides me through this?
When you come into the institution, we have the admissions desk. And that admissions desk discusses at length before the student or the learner enters the class. They have to know exactly what is it that they want. Do you want to become a teacher? Do you want to go and work in a bank? Do you want to work in the medical field? Do you want to become a researcher in medicine? All that, we discuss it on admission desk. Mm-hmm. And they are correctly advised. And when they go to class, if they still feel they need to change, they have options to change within the first 2 weeks of learning.
Okay.
Yep.
What have you seen that this year provides for students who now then get into university later? Essentially, what fruits have we realized as a result of them doing this year?
I'll tell you, in 2004 is when I introduced the A-level, the year 11 and year 12, to those who have taken the local curriculum, the KCSE. And I am very, very proud to say those who had failed in KCSE and entered the A-level program, they made it, and they have become great lawyers and doctors in this republic. Mm-hmm. That means we should not just throw away the kids because they failed our 844 Form 4. They still have hope. Maybe something happened during the exam time and one was not able to do well. We are giving them a second chance. Mm-hmm. And after we tried from 2004, we were so successful that I wondered why it wasn't introduced. And this is why we went all the way to find other ways that we can still eliminate the failures in our institutions of learning. Mm. Yes.
Once you have, if you sit KCSE,
yes,
and you had, say, and for purposes of this conversation, failed some of these compulsory subjects,
yes,
but then you went ahead and you got admission to a university abroad, and you then qualify from that university abroad with a degree, you come back to Kenya. Will the Kenya National Qualifications Authority recognize that university if they look and see that the KCSE you had not passed?
For information, the qualifying authority also recognizes those other curriculums offered all over the world. Once a student has not been able to get to our university because they failed, for example, I'm giving Kiswahili, because this is a key subject where a lot of children...
And you see many people.
Yes, a lot of children don't do well. Mm. And when they don't, and those who perform very well in Kiswahili, they fail these other core subjects like chemistry and biology. So this is the way our brains are set up. Mm. But you seem to only be taking care of those that qualify. But those who fail because their brain is a little smashed on those particular subjects, they don't have an opening. And the opening is now, is where we are saying, those with C and above, and who may want to proceed to university to do a degree, they have a way now. They come through this program, and once they have qualified in 8, they'll be admitted in the universities in all these countries. And even our qualifying institution will not fail that student who's made it and has done law in the University of Leeds, for example, in UK.
So what you're saying is that this student who did not pass in English but then went ahead to study law abroad can come back and can join the Kenya School of Law so that then they can be admitted, sit the bar exam and be admitted to the bar in Kenya.
Yes, because they will have qualified
even with
in the International University Foundation Program.
So, let me ask. So essentially, what the National University Qualifying Program does is like a bridging course. It enables you to build or to add to your qualification subjects perhaps that you had been weak in, so that going forward there will not be a hindrance to you achieving the goal you had or to study the subjects you wanted at the university level. Is that what it does?
I want to make it clear. IUFP focuses on your strong points. Take, for example, you had failed Kiswahili in O-level. I'm using Kiswahili just to standardize for the listener.
Yes.
If you had failed Kiswahili, in Kenya, you may not go far because the universities will consider that as a core subject, which you are supposed to have passed. But it is not a core subject in a university in UK, for example. So what we will do ourselves is that we will give you 1 year preparing you to join the university out there by reinforcing what you are capable of studying. We ignore that Kiswahili because it's not compulsory in the university in Britain. Are you getting? Mm-hmm. That we improve on your qualifications that are leading you to the career of your choice.
Okay.
So we don't stress you. You don't know how to do incha. for example. And we are still insisting you must run Incha. You get what I mean? And yet, yourself, you don't want to run Incha because you want to go and work using English as your language. So we don't just down the tools for our children simply because they did not do well in the 4 core subjects that we consider as Kenya. You must pass in Kiswahili, you must pass in mathematics, you must pass in English. You get what I mean? Those 3 subjects, yes.
When you qualify, this is what Eric was asking, and you come back to Kenya.
Yes.
Will you not having done well in Kiswahili affect you?
It won't affect you because now you bypass that one by doing this foundation course. And this foundation course is reinforcing the career that you want and what you want to do for Kenya. You get it? For example, you didn't do well in Kiswahili, but you did very well in mathematics. Because we have brains like those. Where you find the child is very keen on English. For example, even the current CBC, you find a lot of children don't know Kiswahili now. It's not like when they were doing 844. The Kiswahili now is a little less attended to, and even a lot of them they want English. If you base your analysis on the Kiswahili, then you'll have to forgo so many souls. Yes, that are not keen on it. We are saying those children who failed certain subjects, they cannot be condemned wholesome for their life.
Sure, but if they needed those particular subjects for later on in their career, so would we say that this 1 year then would help them improve where they may have gone wrong? Because I still come back to that particular issue that even if you do go to a university outside and come back into the country, into Kenya, for example, you will still need the Kiswahili at some point.
The Kiswahili that you need at some point is a communication with the people, but not one where you are tested.
Okay.
Take, for example, in our day, we never did Kiswahili. Even the one I know, Niamta. So, but I still communicate using Kiswahili with the parents. But here we are talking about professional Kiswahili. You have to do Incha, you have to do this, and you have to do that for you to qualify. You get what I mean? Yes. But in the ordinary life, you don't need Incha if you're working as a banker. And here I am saying, those children that have not made it, and I'm giving hope to those sitting the exams now. Exams in Kenya today. Those that will qualify with the C, Kweda U, will be able to reinforce that one to acceptable limits by all the universities in the 7 countries that have appointed St. Elizabeth to prepare those children for them.
Okay. Are there specific universities that have then appointed St. Elizabeth?
It is all the universities in the countries listed. In the countries listed.
Okay.
Yes.
So it's the education system, for example, in the UK,
yes,
that has recognized
this
IUFP and St. Elizabeth as an IUFP center.
Yes.
I see.
We have also been a center for the British curriculum from 2004. So you can see our experience in terms of performance of preparing our children that are not able to fit into 844 before 844. Those whose kids could not cope with Kiswahili or cope up with some mathematics, they joined the British curriculum and they have done very well. So we don't throw away the children. It becomes all inclusive for the benefit of all the Kenyan kids.
Right.
And we are saying, please, and this I'm telling all the candidates, I wish you the very best. And I look forward to meeting those that would want to have a change in their career path so that we can advise them.
You mentioned that CBC may be one of the best things that happened to Kenya since sliced bread.
Yes.
What have you seen has been a transformative factor to the children that you teach with the change of the curriculum in the last, 6 years now?
I will tell you a secret. This is the best thing that ever happened to Kenya, and I wish we can all embrace it. Before, the kids could not be benchmarked minus core subjects, which were all theory. There was no practice. Mm-hmm. Take, for example, almost about 5 or 6% of our children are not able to cope with the theory every day.
Yep.
They had no opportunity to become men and women of repute because they could not cope, like I said, in reading, incha, and composition, but their hands were gifted in technicals. Today, we are able to see a farmer from a grade 2 child who is very aggressive, reports to school very early, and has convinced the parents that he's got a duty, he has some chicks that he's feeding. Are you getting?
Yeah.
We have introduced the learning in a different way from the way it used to be theory. Now we have a bit of theory and we have a bit of practice, the practical. And this has made a great change. And if we all can embrace this one, it will change the number of school dropouts that you see.
The theory of it sounds very good. Is that the practice? Like, do we have enough teachers who are able to spend time with the children and the learners and tell, this is a child who is stronger in this area, in the arts, this one is stronger in academics, and so let me spend more time, nurturing them as they grow up from the grades 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so that as they're coming up, you can tell you are helping the farmer become a farmer and to learn more about farming, and you're helping the researcher to actually get to understand more about researching and in the academics. Do we have
I will tell you
sufficient
what is
resources to actually help this work?
Yes, resources are there. What we are doing now is during the holidays, like now when we close the school, after the KCSE exams are over and the IGCSE A-level exams are over, we are retooling the teachers. For 2 weeks, they'll be in class. And every teacher will be sharpened and become a better person. And knowing that these are teachers who've been taught before the various subjects in their schools, they are able now to come up and cope with it after the retooling method. And I am requesting also that every teacher feels keen to check where they're being retooled and must attend those courses so that they become of use as we open January 2025. For St. Elizabeth, we are retooling them in our institution of learning. We have people coming on board to come and sharpen them and show them where they don't know and how to apply it. So we, in a short while, it's just like when we came up with 844, which was not there before. Those teachers of the previous curriculum, it was very difficult for them to understand. This incha stuff that you have to copy, you have to teach, and they were not used to core subjects when you were sitting exam, and I guess you are in the same age. And we were not having those types of 844 stuff. But now, people don't want to move from 844 because they're so used to it. But the 844 is just theory. Everything is theory. And it was excluding those children who are not able to cope with that magnitude of theory. Now we are saying it is good time for us to look at our economy, our people, again better, and introduce those ideas which can prosper them.
Actually,
and this is the time.
If you look at the theory and the thinking behind the 844, you are actually spot on up to a point. The issue that perhaps bedevils our systems of education is the practice of it.
Yes.
Because if you looked at how the 844 was framed, there was a lot of practicum in it. But it became tricky for some of those things if you were an urban school. See?
Yeah.
Now, the CBC seems to have taken up from there and they're moving forward. But if you go to an even earlier time, Remember, we did have technical schools. There were schools,
Yes.
but they were technical.
Yep.
What happened to them? In my mind, sometimes I look at the education system, it's like we keep going full circle. We start up with something that seems to work, then we get rid of it, only later on to come back to exactly where it is that we had left off.
Good.
And perhaps this is where what you are talking about becomes useful. It becomes useful because you are then able to say, okay, this is where we are, but we don't have to be stuck with this one here.
Yes.
No.
How do we bridge it?
How do we bridge it? How do you make sure that people who are keen to move ahead have an opportunity to actually go ahead? Because if we stick to what we have, then they are stuck, and at some point they'll have come to an end, or their learning will have come to an end. So you're saying, how do we ensure that this learning doesn't come to an end at this point simply because of this?
Yeah.
Yes.
And for the IUFP program,
Yes.
is it only open to students who have sat through St. Elizabeth Academy, or is it open to anyone?
No, all the students that are in the Republic
How
of
does one
Kenya.
apply?
They only need to call the number of admission, and the number is 0722 873 115.
Say again.
The number is 0722 873 115. Or they can drive to St. Elizabeth. It's right on the road. You can't miss St. Elizabeth after Karen roundabout. It's just the first turning on your left, and you see so many signboards indicating what is going on in that school.
Or you can ask CT.
But this should be after they have sat their KCSE.
We are admitting,
IGCSE.
we are admitting the January intake. They are the ones who report now in January, and the next year's January, 2026 January, they will be on the way to the country of their choice.
Very good. And you help them through that?
Yes, we help them through that program.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very,
It
very
is, I will tell you, I love Kenya. I love Kenyans so much. I can't go to work in UK. I want to work here.
Study there, come back and work here. And Wanjiku Munene is the director of the St. Elizabeth Academy in Karen. She's been our guest, telling us about what next. What next after high school? Focus on International University Foundation Program, which is what we've just talked about. So the number to call again, 0722 873 115.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.